welcome, everyone. This is episode 3 of Homebase. Here we have NFTYoda, the wise, the knowledgeable. You know, him and the NFT Council might not grant you the rank of master, but he is still kind. You know, he's a good guy, always there for you. I'm Alum. I'm a project manager at Purrnelopes. And if you guys want to introduce yourself, go ahead.
Okay. Hey, I'm Subversive. You can just call me Civ. Kind of like Sieve. Yeah. However, you can spell it however you want. Um, Maybe Siv might just be easier. I'm pretty new to the space, but I've been here since the original. And I'm excited to talk with our kind of the guests and with Alamo too.
Yeah, and okay, I'm NFT Yoda. Some people now know me as Henry the Grape, even though I'm NFT Yoda. And I'm a non-fungible idiot with many of you. I've been on the Purrnelopes team for maybe a little over a month, maybe two, and I've been with Purrnelopes since day one. So I'm super happy to be here. Love hanging out with you guys.
So Yoda, I want to crack straight into it. How did you get into crypto and NFTs? Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe your brother Huda was kind of your liaison between the regular world and this like crypto NFT world. And how did that all go about? What was the process there?
Yeah, so we, together had followed crypto for a long while. When I say a long while, I'm talking going back, years, which everybody has followed crypto, maybe some to different degrees. And it was a little over a year ago when we were looking into NFTs. We heard about them, we'd read about them, but really had no idea. Owned Ethereum, but had absolutely no idea how non-fungible tokens bridged over to cryptocurrency. So it was like, okay, I know it's crypto. One interesting, probably a point where I was like really interested is I read an article, or it was a Twitter thread from Machine Gun Kelly of all people, which I'm not a huge fan of Machine Gun Kelly. And in this article, he was asking people, or in this thread, he was asking people, how can I create my own cryptocurrency? And people were suggesting to him not to do that because of the regulations and just the hoops you have to jump through, and that he should create his own non-fungible token. And at that point, I'm like, okay, I've been reading about these NFTs. I've been reading about Pranksy, who had been making moves in the space. And I was like, okay, I got to like understand this. So it was end of December. It was like right after Christmas last year when Huda, who's my brother in real life, we were talking one day about just the crypto market in general. And he's like, we really got to do NFTs, having absolutely no idea where to even start, like no clue. And we just sort of went on this little mission for a few days of like, oh, okay, we need this MetaMask wallet. Oh, you read about needing a MetaMask wallet too? Okay, that makes sense. Let's get a MetaMask wallet. And, learning about how you would transfer from a central exchange to MetaMask, which was scary as hell the first time.
Yeah.
And he found one night NFT boxes, which Carlini owned with Pranksy. And he called me up. I remember it was like 10:30 at night after the Genesis drop of NFT boxes. And he said, hey, I found something, and I think that we really need to look into it. Keep in mind, at this point, I just thought any picture could be an NFT. So I'm going to find this stupid picture I took. I'm literally going to find it as the dumbest timestamp where I took a picture of one of my kids' figure skates next to a small Christmas tree. And I cut it out to make it look like what I thought was like a little person. And I'm like, oh, this thing must be like, this game must be so easy. You just take a dumb picture and you mint it, whatever the hell that means. And then you can sell it for like thousands of dollars. And I can't remember which site I tried doing this on. And I'm like, okay, I just don't even understand. Like, how does anybody know what to buy? And he called me about NFT boxes. He's like, I think we really need to look into this. And I'm thinking like, yeah, it's probably just some like random thing. And that night, I want to say a lot of the pieces, like somewhere between 2 and 10x. And we're like, okay, whatever this is, like, we got to figure this out. It's where we met Carlini. And it's where we met a lot of the people that like we're still hanging out with today. So that was our first venture into NFTs, having no idea what any of this stuff was NFT boxes last January. No, not last January, January of 21. So certainly not an OG like Carlini or Pranksy. I guess by today's standards, we've been in the space for a little longer than some, but we're learning right alongside with all of you. And that's what I love about the space, is how we all like vibe off of learning together and sharing together. And so, yeah, that's sort of how we found our way into the NFT space.
Gotcha. And just to go in a bit further, would you describe it more as like a diving into the deep end, complete degenerate right off the bat, or was it kind of like you had to dip your toes in the water and kind of get a feel for it? How cautious were you at the beginning?
Absolutely no regard for caution at all. Anybody who knows, like zero, bro. Anybody who knows me in real life, and like if my wife was on this call, she would attest to it. It's probably not a good thing. Anything I do is like 100%. I don't even know what halfway is with things like that. So in real life, I have a business. I'm a little bit of a workaholic. So when we started learning about NFTs, it was all consuming. Yes, it was. My wife's looking at me right now saying all day. Literally, bro, all day, every day. Just like, it reminded me of the Matrix when Neo was like plugged in. It was that kind of moment. There was no, like with Zen apes, they're really big on mental health, just as an example. And, you got to take care of yourself. To me, so I want to make sure I'm very clear the way I say this. Oh, sorry guys, my dogs are barking because they're annoying like that.
No,
Zen apes is really big on mental health because it's such a big component of what we're doing. You can spend so much time and in the space, and you can kind of forget that you need to take care of yourself. I did not care one bit about that. I looked at NFTs as, I'm 39 years old. Older than some in this space, by no means the oldest guy in this space. But I'm not an 18, 19-year-old that has the time to just like, hey, over the next handful of years, I'm like, no, I recognize that this is sort of like the .com boom. This is sort of like I always say, this is like getting into Amazon when Jeff Bezos was stacking books in his garage. And I saw that from the beginning. I don't know how, because I didn't know the utility of it. It just seemed like something really special. So yeah, I aped right in. All of the Ethereum that I had at the time, aside from some that I stupidly bought from PayPal when they opened up their ability to buy cryptocurrency, which I didn't realize was sort of locked in there. Maybe to a good degree, it's good that it's locked in there. I put it all in. I literally put everything in and overpaid for a lot of stuff, I'm sure. But yeah, I was 100% from day one. I really don't feel like I've taken much time off because I feel like right now is such an important time. There's so much innovating going on in this past year. I'm just like, I don't want to miss it. I don't want to miss it. I want to be there for it. It's like every day I feel like there's something like, oh, if you're not on point, that you can miss. Now, luckily, in the groups that we run in, we all know we can take a little bit of a break. But to me, it's like I want to be there. Like for the Pepsi drop the other day, I wanted to make sure I was online for that because I'm hoping that I take my time off a few years from now when maybe we're lucky enough to reap some of the financial benefits of being in the space this early.
Exactly, and you touched on a lot of good points, and I want to go back to, it kind of being a part of like your personality, and I think that kind of shows through in, in a lot of ways, going back to how good the breeding party was, the first breeding party, and how exciting that was, and how, kind of like you didn't, there was no funny business. It was, it's just straight fun, eclectic method making. Some Twitch live stream playing music. We're getting Cocoa Bear donating bananas. Huge shout out to them, and it was just a great time, all around. I think it really shows in your work.
Oh,
Uh,
thank you.
and I think Siv had a question he wanted to ask.
I did. So I think the priority on like mental health I think is super key here. And I think if anyone here has listened to me before, that's kind of where I'm coming from. But like in a lot of ways, when you first started, I think Alamo put it well. You were a diving degen, right? But now, kind of, as time has gone on, I would imagine it's a lot more important for you to schedule time. You have a family, you have friends, you have a full-time position. How do you go about in terms of scheduling your week, prioritizing, the things that you have to do and the things that you want to do, and then also, being able to have relationships with people like your wife and your kids as well.
Wow, that's a great question. So I'll say first off that I'm not good at that. Um, in February, this past February, I own a flooring store in real life. So I always joke I rug people for a living in real life. So I own a flooring store, and just the tiniest bit of background. I'm a high school dropout. I went into the US military when I was 17. I did about 5.5 years and got out. And I feel like my entire life I've just had to grind to have what I have. And I live like a middle class life. I'm really, prior to NFTs, like just like a comfortable life. I wasn't wealthy. I wasn't worried about putting bread on the table. And I debated whether or not I was going to open a second location and expand what I had going on, because in real life, we were doing well at the store. In February, when I really, I don't want to say got a grasp on NFTs, but when I could start to kind of see the picture, I told my wife, I said, I want to spend the amount of time I would be spending opening a second location and getting that going. I want to spend that on NFTs instead. I'm willing to lose out on the potential to open a second location to go all in to NFTs and into the blockchain. I don't know what it means. I just know it's going to require a lot of my time, and it has. And you're right, at the beginning it was like all consuming. It still is consuming now, and I have to be cognizant of that to try to spend the time that I can with I have 3 daughters. So to spend that time with them, or to spend it with my wife. I've been really fortunate that my wife understands that this is hopefully the way that I can exit my in real life job at some point in, hopefully within the next 12 months, and be a full-time crypto degen. I'm not banking on it. Like, I'm not banking on it, but I feel like the things that, I always say, like, if there's an A to Z and you got to go through each letter as the next step, I kind of feel like I'm on step like S, maybe T, maybe even U. Like, I'm getting closer. And if it wasn't for having a family, I would already be in. And if it wasn't for having employees that dedicated their time to me, I probably would be doing it full time. But I feel like an allegiance towards them, and that I need to find a way to steward them, even if I do go into crypto full time. So honestly, it is difficult balancing all of that. I'm not amazing at it, but I have made it clear to, like, my wife, this is what I feel like I need to do, because the people we all look up to, so like the people you look up to are probably the same people I look up to in this space. And those guys, let's say the Cocos and the Carlinis and guys like that, they had the first movers advantage. And that's a bad way to put it maybe, but they were in early. They put their time in years ago, breeding crypto kitties, grinding axes, things like that. And so like they're okay. Like most of those guys that are still around, they're doing okay. For guys like us and gals like us that came in, it's a little bit harder. Like you either just got really lucky and maybe you minted 15 apes or 30 apes, or
Mhm.
you got really lucky minting a project like that, or you're grinding, and you're grinding. This is going to sound bad because when I say you're grinding to be noticed, what I mean is like, what is your capital in this space? Like, what is your value in this space amongst everybody else in this two-dimensional picture of we are a profile picture and
Mhm.
we're words in a Discord? Like, what's your capital? Well, you have to somehow set yourself apart, somehow.
Mhm.
And if you have a good personality, like I'll use Alamo. Do you go by Alam or Alamo?
I'm fine with either.
Like I'll use you as an example. Um, you're an incredibly kind guy. You are willing to help anybody with anything. You're an extremely skilled guy. And when you put yourself out there the way that you have, you get noticed. I remember when you were, in my mind, the way that you started to elevate yourself is you did a lot of memes. You took, Penelope memes and they were fun and people liked them. And you got noticed, right? You got
Mhm.
noticed. You separated yourself a little bit, whether it was
Mhm.
intentional or not. You did it, and you did it in a kind way. And I feel like in this space, that's how you get capital. That's how you become and you start to separate yourself from other people. Again, not as like a me against you, but
Mhm.
just, hey, if you want to be in this space, people got to know what you have to offer. And all I ever had to offer, because I'm not a tech wizard, like when you put that video together for me
Mhm.
for NFT NYC, I'm blown away by it, bro. I'm like, how did you take these things and make this? So to me, I'm like, what is my capital? I'm a networker. I'm a, when I say I'm a nice guy, I don't mean it like arrogantly. I just mean
Mhm.
like, yeah, I know I'm friendly, and because I know I'm willing to help anybody with anything.
Mhm.
So that was my capital, is just being able to be around to help share whatever limited knowledge I had at the time.
Mhm.
And so that's what's kind of got me to this point. um, in whatever projects that I'm in. Obviously I'm huge on Purrnelopes. I haven't sold one, but I feel like that's been my path in this space, from entering knowing nothing to degenning for the last year to sitting on the stage with friends, which is what I consider both of you, sitting on a stage with friends talking about a project that all of us love. I mean,
Mhm.
it's really a crazy ride if you look back to where you started.
Definitely. Thank you for that. I appreciate the kind words, and I think you raised a really good topic here where that isn't normally like spoken on. It's definitely seen and understood, but I feel like no one seems to talk about it as much, and it's the importance of reputation and how to actually go about building it in this space, and how to how important that is. And I think you put it in a good way where you called it your capital, and your ability to network and talk to people. And I think like you said, the most important thing you can do is like is giving, almost without like expectations of return, and you'll probably end up receiving more than you can ever expect. And I think it's so important in this space that it applies to almost all levels, and you can see that not only and perhaps the luck that I've seen in this space, where it's coming up from nothing, essentially no reputation, to like you said, so somewhat being noticed for like memes or helping people and just kind of giving, to all the way up to someone like the OGs like Carlini, where you can see it in his projects where he's building. He's not in here to pump the floor and then just kind of give up after that point. He wants an organic growth for a reason. He doesn't want to abandon, someone if the floor pumps to 3 ETH and then someone buys in. He's mentioned multiple times that he needs to bring value to that person that bought in at 3 ETH. And if the floor drops back down because it's an artificial pump, or we are doing some tactics to get the floor up there, then it's it's not going to be good for that person, because if it drops down to 1 ETH, that's 2 ETH that person lost, and that might have been their you know whole college savings, or however people are investing and over leveraging. And we need to be careful and watch out for one another. And I
Absolutely.
think that shows in a lot of like the OGs, like you're saying, on Twitter, and them being able to spread that kindness and give back. And I think being an idiot, it helps a lot, kind of having that guidance, even if like you're in a couple of months before me. That's going to save me so much time, and being able to listen to you guys, and hear stories of I think I don't know if you wanted to bring it up. I feel like it's been said a lot, but
Absolutely.
the seed phrase, it's like we need to. I don't think it's something to be embarrassed about in this space.
No,
I think
not at all.
it's a learning experience for all of us, and it's something that we really need to be cautious of. And whether that's having multiple hot wallets, a cold wallet, or and just kind of being financially aware of like the decisions that are being made. And this all goes back to I think one of the biggest issues in today's society, let alone NFTs, is mental health. And how I could only imagine how you felt, like your stomach just sinking when you noticed your wallet being stolen at the time. And um,
It,
you
it,
know
it was horrific. Yeah,
exactly.
it
And
was.
it's
Yeah, it was horrific, and thank God that I had idiots,
mhm,
because without that group, I wouldn't even be in this space anymore. To be honest with you,
mhm,
I don't know if you remember, there was a guy in Purrnelopes. His name was You could search the chat record. It started with the word fantastic. It was like fantastic God or something like that. He got compromised like 2 weeks after me.
mhm,
Lost around 300,000 US. I talked to him on the phone. I was trying to help him get in touch with a
mhm,
white hatter, and he waited too long. But he lost everything. Hasn't
mhm,
been back since. It's devastating, dude. Like,
mhm,
absolutely, you work for that stuff, for those NFTs, and time invested in. And had it not been for the idiots, I wouldn't be here. Or and guys like Coco, that
mhm,
he bought back my babies. It's total side note, but just a thought when you were talking about like the OGs. And what's incredible is, like, Coco and, like, let's say Carlini, to me, are sort of like a Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, but the difference is they get along. Like, they
uh-huh,
get along. I know those guys have conversations. I know they do. They have to.
mhm,
They're in groups together, and they're great stewards of this space. Like, how lucky are we to have people like that, that are just good stewards of this space, instead of okay, Beanie is, I think he's a good steward of this space. He's a little bit different than Coco and Carlini.
mhm,
I think he wants to bring value to people. But I'm like,
mhm,
how lucky are we to have, at the same time, guys like Coco and guys like Carlini,
mhm.
that are genuinely trying to steward these projects to success. I think it's pretty incredible.
I mean, I completely agree. I think, you know, like maybe distilled like that topic of like normalizing failure within this space is, we don't really talk about the times that we've messed up. A lot of times, I think I've mentioned this before on OpenSea. I tend to hide a lot of those failures that I've made, a lot of those, choices that maybe I FOMO'd in on something and, greatly regretted it. But I think like being able to talk and maybe hash it out, and being able to have that ability to talk with people like Carlini or yourself, has really made, a lot of those foibles into like learning opportunities.
Mhm.
Dude, yes. I want to tell you, like, you guys know that I'm involved with Kongs.
Mhm.
So just to throw this out there, because this is the country club where we talk all things,
Mhm.
I believe.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
So, okay, my top three projects in the NFT space are Kongs, Purrnelopes, Pixel Vault, in no ranking order. Like,
Mhm.
those are the three projects that I care a lot about. And I think they're run by incredible people. And I always had this idea in my head when I'm in the Genesis Hall. So the Genesis Hall is the channel in Kongs where the Jennies hang.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I always read the chat and I'm just like, bro, you guys are making a killing and I suck because everything I buy, other than those 3 projects I just referenced, they all just dump. What are you guys doing, like, to have this kind of success? Because I'm not having it. And you know what? When I brought it up, this was like the first time I did was probably, I don't know, 3 months ago. Somebody was like, "Hey, thank you for saying that because like I feel the same way. Like that everybody else is minting awesome stuff, but except for me." And then somebody else said that. And then like somebody else said it. And I'm like, "Oh, dude, it's like all of us. Everybody's in the same boat." Here I am thinking you guys are the only ones making amazing moves and I suck, but we all kind of suck. So to your point about
Yeah.
sharing in failures,
Yeah.
I think it's so easy to think that everybody else is doing it right
Mm-hmm.
and you're doing it wrong because people don't want to talk about their losses. But I think talking about our losses is one of the best things we can do. I think we don't value enough how much that can mean to the person who's sitting on 0.05 in their wallet with a with a wallet filled with NFTs that right now feel worthless. And when they hear it, that like, okay, I'm not the only one. Like maybe there's still some hope, just enough hope to get to the next bull run where those worthless NFTs might actually be worth something. I think we don't value that enough because some people need to hear that. Like, it's not just you, bro. I'm making crappy moves too, every day of the week, every day of the week. But there also is value in getting into, when I say an alpha group, getting into a group where you're not just making a move alone without some sort of, consensus on whether the thing you're looking at is absolute garbage or, oh no, that's an interesting mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
There's some value to that as well, having a group, which is an awesome thing about the country club. Like, I'm looking at the people here and so many of us hang out every day of the week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like every day of the week, I'm looking at the people here. I'm like, oh, pretty much all of you, we hang out together. And so there's like immense value in sharing that, sharing your losses, but also sharing your projects where you can kind of weed out some of the bad ones.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a really great point you brought up about, being open about losses. I think there's something really healthy about that.
Yeah, I think it goes to humanize this space and, evolve what social media typically was, maybe 5-10 years ago, where it's like people are only showing, the good things in life, and it's kind of, hard to get onto social media sometimes when your life isn't going that way. And I think being able to, be in these projects where, maybe other people are also there with you losing money, but you might also be in a project where you and other people are making money, or are having a good time, or are building this community together. And I think that's kind of what separates NFT culture from perhaps other social media culture, that we're kind of evolving from. And just waking up to good mornings, or saying good night, or making friends, and seeing other people talking on Twitter. And I think it's important to kind of have that brotherhood. I think I've touched on it before, but like being able to like, watch each other's back. And if someone missed a day where so much has gone on, I don't want to go too in depth into this, it's a bit off topic, but yesterday, where it's the Pudgy Penguins community manager with Cole and stuff, that whole thing. If you weren't on yesterday, like for example me, I only caught like the tail end of that. I was helping a friend move, and it was like, like what did I just miss out on? It seems like all of Twitter, all of Discord is talking about this, or is mentioning it in some way. And so it's kind of having each other there to almost take notes for us when we like miss class is what it feels like.
That's a great analogy, bro. I love that. That's how that is how, to me, so like my home group is idiots, and that's how idiots feels to me.
Mm-hmm.
Is exactly that. Like, you have people taking notes for you when you're not in class. And I do think that Purrnelopes, in this, you want to call it a bear market, we call it whatever. In this cycle, people can look at certain projects and, they just think that they're done. And I have no doubt there are projects that are done. Purrnelopes it reminds me of Kongs in the way that they're not thinking of like right now.
Mhm.
They're making moves many, many months in advance.
Mhm.
And so I am looking forward to when the Purrnelopes Discord is hopping like it could be. It's hard at times to keep the life going
Mhm.
where you have an active chat all the time when people are kind of spread out, they're everywhere. But there's going to come a time where Purrnelopes becomes very active in the Discord and it starts to become more of a home base for us,
Mhm.
where we're not just going there to get info, maybe a couple times a day, but where we're hanging,
Mhm.
where it is like the place to be. And I do think that's coming. I think we're working on ways to this a make this that type of place, that
Mhm.
country club vibe that we always talk about.
So, kind of building on that, I think it's like if we look, like historically speaking, at the spaces that people like, say, Carlini or Pranksy. I think Carlini has mentioned before that, early on it was it Axie Infinity or was it CryptoKitties was where he kind of
CryptoKitty.
CryptoKitties, right? And so, like, I think the cool thing about a lot of those early communities is that they had a shared experience, right? They all went through a period of time where crypto and NFTs were not really valued. And so by that shared experience being that, okay, well, maybe we're not going to make it because we don't have, a lot of adoption, to now where there is like massive adoption and massive enjoyment within that community. They've kind of made it, but that shared experience throughout that time, I think, really helped to define that community and help it grow and give it value. And so, I'd like to think that's where we're going as well with Purrnelopes, in that, yes, we're originally here for Purrnelopes, but in the future, who knows? It'll probably be we'll be here for the community, for Purrnelopes, and probably for other things as well. The community, going past the project, as it were.
Dude, I love that. Honestly, I love that because I believe that. I think, I'm sure a lot of us, I know I get hit up often through DMs asking me about the project. I'm sort of a liaison to Kongs from Purrnelopes. So, Coco is our number one holder. I often get asked by Kongs that are Purrnelopes holders, like, what's going on, man? Like, obviously every project, including blue chips, have fallen in this latest cycle. But like, hey, what's going on with Purrnelopes? They're not keyed in, so they're not paying attention to the airdrops and the mechanics and the things that we have coming. They just look at like OpenSea and what's the floor price, and oh my gosh, the floor is whatever, less than it was a month ago. And I tell them, we're playing the long game. Like we're like the floor price. It's funny, and this is a newfound thing for me, by the way. So I'm going to say it out loud for like the first time, at least here. Nothing profound, by the way. So don't worry about taking notes. The floor price is something we are so keyed in to check. We're just like in the habit of it. If not once a day, it could be multiple times a day. It's just like a thing that we do. Check the floor price on your projects. What's the floor?
Yeah.
What I realized is this: for those three projects I mentioned, which are the three that are closest to my heart, if you will, they are the ones that I think are going to be extremely successful. The floor price doesn't even matter because what difference does it make? If Purrnelopes was a 1 ETH floor right now, or hell, even if it was a 0.6 floor, would I be selling one? No. So when these guys ask like, hey, what's going on with it? I'm like, we're playing the long game. The price right now doesn't matter, man. We're building. Like we are building in the same way Kongs are building their metaverse. We're building our brand. So whatever the floor price is right now, I don't know. Don't really care. It doesn't. It's not indicative of the value of the project. And I know, dude, I know this much. I've known Carlini longer than any OG in the space, meaning personally. So like, as far as the mentors that I look up to, he would be the person I've known and communicated with the longest. And while I don't always agree with what he initially says, like I'm a human, so he may say something that I don't. And also, by
Mhm.
the way, Carlini, at least to me, we sort of have a thing where he likes to give me little zippy remarks. Like that's just our thing. So I do know that the dude knows what he's doing.
Mhm.
And we had a team meeting 2 months ago, give or take. And after the meeting, I talked to him for hour and a half ish, maybe 2 hours,
Mhm.
because we were talking about this very idea of like, how do we bring life to the Discord, which I just happened to be talking about. So that's the
Mhm.
reason
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
kind of tying it in right here. So we were talking like, how do we bring some life into the Discord, like around the time where we're doing airdrops, and how do we sustain that? And
Mhm.
I would like, dude, I had like one suggestion over and over again. I'm like, uh, Carlini, just bring Carlini in. Carlini spaces. People like Carlini. They want his ear. They want to talk to him. They want to hear him. Carlini, Carlini, Carlini. And after we were done with the team meeting and him and I were just kind of shooting the breeze, we started talking about that a little bit. And he's like, you keep bringing up me. He's like, you
Yeah.
keep bringing that up. He's like, I don't want that. He's like, I don't want, I'm paraphrasing, I
Mhm.
don't want to be the project. I want the project to be the project.
Mhm.
This project is not supposed to rely on me, meaning him,
Mhm.
to be successful. This project needs to be successful by its own volition. So, not that I hadn't thought of that before, but when he said it, I'm like, oh yeah, it totally makes sense. And so again, another instance where like what I thought needed to be done
Mhm.
is not what he thought needed to be done. But if you step back and look at it, yeah, the artificial pumping and all that, he doesn't want it. He doesn't, because he's like, it doesn't matter if we pump right now, like Alamo said. It doesn't matter right now. Matters, what does this look like a year from now? Are we innovating with the space? Are we the innovators?
Mhm.
Do we innovate? Are we following? What do we do to separate ourselves? And I
Mhm.
think that's going to be shown time and time again
This week,
that we,
maybe.
dude, right?
Yeah. So I want to chime in really quick here. I see a few ambassadors listening live. Just a quick reminder. This week, you might want to have your ambassador, your crypto sign checked. Go ahead and do that. We can link that in the description of the video as well. So just a reminder. We're
Yeah,
not
it's a good
only
thing.
building. We're thinking. Months out into March. We're thinking months out into July. We're thinking, what's the space going to look like 1 year from now, like you were just saying. It's a lot of building going on.
There is, and look at the things that we do now, and and in the coming future. Look at the things we do, and let's just then look and see what other people do. In the future, do they copy us? Are we innovating? And I think we're going to see that we are. And the greatest thing about what's going on right now, like look at every project coming out with their token. Like it's, oh, we got a roadmap and token and gaming and play to earn, and most of which will probably be considered illegal, or a lot of which will be. That the token was not um, released legally.
Hmm.
And can you imagine what this project is going to be like when we actually get our token that we've been waiting on? But
Building.
when I say we've
Yeah.
been waiting on it, yeah, dude, building, but not relying on. Like we're not relying on the token. We're not like,
Hmm.
oh my gosh, what's the token going to be valued at? We're just like, hey, token comes when token comes, and it's not built into the price right now, in my opinion,
Hmm.
because nobody's like there isn't something tangible for people to be thinking of or basing it
Hmm.
on. When token actually generates and is in your wallet, now all of a sudden, if there's value to token,
Hmm.
people are going to be like, ooh, this Purrnelopes, yeah, they've been around for a while. Ooh, they've maintained above mint. We haven't
Hmm.
dropped below mint since sellout.
No.
Um, that's a big deal, man. In
Hmm.
this market, that's a big deal.
Yeah, I think there's so many elements to Purrnelopes. It's kind of hard to factor all of that into the price. There's the airdrops, there's the utility that comes with the token, let alone token itself. It's the forward thinking into like physicals here, where it's not only are we innovating in terms of like the project itself, but we're also the way that NFTs are being delivered, or the way that things are being executed, where the physical is tied to an NFT, um, itself with the IYK, and it's with the original airdrop. There's so much going on with each element. It's kind of hard. I feel like it must be hard considering the price right now. With we still have how many more airdrops? We have 5 more airdrops. The cat itself and the kitty bank backing all of it.
Dude,
There's so much that goes into this.
It's massive. I mean, honestly, when you think of it, it really is. And when I say nobody's talking about it, it's kind of good. Like, it's kind of good because we're solid. I do know that much. We are as solid as any project out there. And maybe I'm a dead horse with Kongs, but I think we all know Kongs are a strong project. They just are. You don't have to like them. They're strong. And they have good mechanics. And they have a good community. And I look at so many of the parallels here because I was with the Kongs from the very, very early stages. I saw how it built. And that's why I always talk about it, because I'm like, no, I remember when there was less than 300 people, and it was just like a thing, but you could recognize it was a good thing. We are so in that same sort of vibe. All of you, all of you have been here kind of since day one. Like, can you think of anybody that we've lost? Like, can you think of any personality in the project that we've lost? Somebody who's like, oh, I'm out, sold my cats, I'm just totally out.
I think there's the flippers that kind of expected this to be like almost like any NFT to be like a quick flip, or gonna pump and like artificially, or however. And it's I've seen a little bit of that. Maybe new faces coming in kind of seem to overshadow that, though. We're growing in terms of unique holders almost every week, it seems like. And so it's I'm super glad that like you said, it's we always have like the same faces here. I can always hit up Boss 1320. He's like one of my like best friends in this space, and it's being able to have those faces not necessarily be like worried about leaving, and kind of like maybe preaching FUD, because everyone kind of understands that this is a slow build, and although it's like a lot of building and there's so much going on in the background, it not all of that can be shown all at once, because there's going to be a lot of changes going on at one time. There's so much to Purrnelopes, and it's amazing being able to have this community staying so solid throughout it all.
Yes, it's an ecosystem.
And I guess kind of thinking of the community, I'm not on the team, so I'm I think that's okay for me to ask this, but are there any community events that we're looking forward to, or is there anything on the horizon, as it were?
Yeah, I think some will come out this week, and so I don't want to spoil too much, but there will be a lot of excitement in December. I think December is going to be a fun month for us. There's talks about the Bake Off kind of going on.
Oh.
There's some at least some baking going on. I think that needs to be a staple, and I say this every time I'm talking in front of people. It's I think just like sitting there and kind of having like an interactive cooking show is just like so fun. Just being able to like hang out. So definitely we're gonna have cooking. We have the Advent calendar going on all throughout December until the 25th, and we have movie night coming up. So there's a few things, and then stuff I can't really talk on. That's going to be pretty hype coming soon.
We'd have to kill you
Yeah, yeah.
if you did.
Yeah, I'm not trying to
Well,
get
you're right.
fired 2 weeks in.
No, good call. And you're right. We got cool stuff coming up. I think the next 3 months or so are
Mhm,
just going to be interesting from the
mhm,
standpoint of, token can be coming out anytime here in the
mhm,
next X amount of time. We're close. Like, we're close to
mhm.
token. Um, we've got our airdrops. We've got, we'll have hoodie redemption soon. As far as community events, aside from like the things that Alamo, mentioned, I think, okay, my prediction is this. I think 2022 is going to be like the year that we get some. When I say in real life meetups going,
Mhm.
I can foresee that happening. I
Yeah.
think there will be. It only makes sense that will have that. So even though there's nothing like official right this
Mhm.
minute, I know that's things that we're gonna be working towards.
Yeah, and there's things like NFT land in March. I think it's 22nd to 25th
Yes.
in Las Vegas.
Yep.
That I'm keeping open.
Yeah, it's around my anniversary, so I have to maybe take an anniversary trip
Mhm,
earlier, so
mhm,
that way I can figure that out. But I'm excited, dude. We have so
mhm,
much cool stuff that is going to be happening soon,
mhm.
sooner than later. As far as airdrops and cool stuff that you might see as ambassadors. And I don't know. I always say, like, just spread the word of Purrnelopes to whoever because I really do think, especially at this price, you're going to make some happy people in the future getting in these kind of positions. Because I think we really, it's hard for me to picture with the vault that we have. It's hard for me to picture us going
Mhm.
significantly lower than we are now. It just
Agreed.
we're I don't want to say we're too stable for that. That might
Mhm.
sound stupid, but we're we're weathering the market right now like
Mhm.
everybody else, and I would say we're holding out pretty good. And you mentioned Boss, who I see out there, so I just quickly wanted to say between Boss and Cats Fanatic,
I see that
because
too. Yeah.
they're both vets, and I love that we have a healthy supply of specifically U.S. and if we have international ones, awesome. But veterans,
Mhm,
like, love that we have a nice group of military vets here, because no
mhm,
other project have I seen as many.
mhm.
And if they exist, awesome. But it's just really cool that a cool project has that many. So thank you guys.
Mhm.
Love having you here.
And speaking of preaching, the good word of Penelope's Cats Fanatic, we love the purrs. Let's bring him up here. He looks like um, he has something to say here. Can you hear us? You talking?
Yeah, can you
Yeah, sweet.
hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, that's actually one of the things you all were talking about. I was just going to ask real quick. I've been DMing Peter to try to talk to him, and I'm going to try to talk to him tomorrow on my way to work. Um, but as far as organic growth, I know the team doesn't want them to do anything, but one of the things that I put and the reason I got enough votes to two hoodie cats is like I wanted to try to get "We Love the Purrs" the trend on Twitter, and I was
Mhm.
being serious about that. So
Yeah.
I have no ETH left, but the little point something that I had, I bought an extra kitten because I want to try to do my first ever giveaway. I've
Oh,
never
that's
done a
awesome.
giveaway on Twitter.
Mhm,
But the whole point of it, I want to do it to have people follow Purrnelopes and to do the hashtag "We Love the
mhm,
Purrs,"
mhm,
because I figure if I'm doing a giveaway and making people put it in there, that at least like I really want to just try to get it trending because right now, when every time I see a Purrs tweet, I put it in there, and I'm like the one of the few that does it. But if everybody starts doing that, and our community starts doing that, and we start to have a trend on Twitter, that's one of those organic growth things. I feel like because then people be like, "Why do we love the purrs? What's a purr?
mhm,
Like, what even is this?"
mhm.
So now I don't have any followers, so I'll need help by other people, retweeting it and doing it, and that's what I'm going to talk to him about hopefully tomorrow morning.
You have my
But
retweet.
yeah, but it's one of those things like whatever I can do, I am nobody. I'm new to NFTs. I'm new to crypto. I'm new to all this stuff, but I love this community. And ever since Yoda invited me to the idiots, like pretty much the only discords I ever get in are Purrnelopes and the idiots now. Like I just don't have time for any of the other stuff, honestly. But I always, every day, have to go in there and at least see what's going on. So I just want to say I appreciate you guys for all you do. And the littlest part that I can do, I'm always going to try to. So that's something that, but at the same time, like I was going to do it to correlate with the end of the kittens minting phase, but then he's like putting out stuff about this ambassador. So I'm like, well, if the team's running something, I don't want to like do something while the team is. I was just going to ask him about timing stuff, but
I
would
mean,
think you're good anytime.
yeah, anytime. I mean, I think what I've seen so far in this is, the willingness to help out other pers, in the community throughout the month. It's like, I think that's a great idea. I see no problems with it at all. I think it's amazing, and I think it's one thing that a lot of people really miss out on is, just taking your shot, right? Just going and trying it and doing it. It's your first giveaway, seeing how it goes, and I think so few people kind of take that jump from, the first thought of, oh, this would be a good idea, to actually going ahead and executing it regardless of how it turns out. And I think if you send out that tweet, you have my retweet, I'm sure you have Peter's, Purrnelopes,
You got mine.
You got mine.
and so I think, it's people want something to rally behind, and when they see, so much good going on, and you're giving it away, and you're helping, maybe someone enter this space. I know Vanos, my friend in the that's listening now, his first entry into Purrs was a kitten, because of, it's so much easier to, take that, small baby steps for a lot of people. And I think you might be able to go ahead and onboard someone and bring them into here, and kind of show them how a community should be, or how a project should act. We're taking the due diligence to make sure things are lawful, things are good once it is then delivered. And I think that's a really good idea you have. Hashtag we love the purrs.
And good on you for doing that, man. Like going out of your way to try to do something for somebody else. That is
Amazing.
straight up what this space is about. Like
I've been in this space for like 4 months, and the only way I got started, I mean, I literally started with $150. Like, I mean, Yoda, you kind of know, we've had conversations. Yeah. I am by no means have money, but at the same time, I now have 5 purrs that I built up to, and that's all because I just love this project from the first day I could get one. And so anytime I've ever been able to sell other things to get purrs, I mean, that's what I've bought. And so I guess I've kind of put all my eggs in one basket, but I don't really care. Because regardless, I started with $150 and I was able to build up, but I was only able to do that because people helped me, and they helped me learn. And I had people literally, the first ever one I got was an untamed elephant. We all know what happened with that. But again, that was just like, I never had that experience of just somebody giving something to me of value. So that was amazing, and if I can give that back to somebody like you said who's never had that experience, I mean, it brings people to the community that are grateful and want to learn, and at Purrs is the perfect place to do that. So of course I want to do it.
Heck yeah, dude.
Yeah, I think kind of I'm gonna steal Yoda's thing, because that's what I do, is stealing sometimes. Steal good ideas. I think just tying it into the fact that the thing that we can do is be good stewards, not just in the community, but being good stewards in this space, because that's how people are going to come on. That's how people are going to stay on, is, if we kind of employ that stewardship, we really have the ability to make it happen.
Absolutely. And honestly, dude, you didn't steal that. That's ours. That's all of ours, right? Like at least the people that are communicating right now, Subs, Alamo, Cat, I know Gravity's out there, and I see Bosses out there. So those people I know, and I know that is the spirit of what all of us are about. I know that. I know if one of us was in a jam and we needed something, hey, dude, I'm short 0.02. I've done it. Like I've done it for people. I don't mean that as a look at me. I just mean I've done it because I trust you guys, and I know that we all have each other's backs. So that stewardship is part of what drew all of us together. There was a guy in Kongs, and he made a really cool point the other day. He's from Austria, and he sent me a picture of him at work, like right in that moment. Took a picture because I'm Yoda of baby Yoda floating above his computer screen. Okay, he has like a Grogu like doll, and he has it floating above his computer screen. Now I'm at work. I have the exact same doll floating above my computer screen. Like literally I turned around and I took a picture and I sent it to him and he said, "Holy crap." He's like, "This was a point I was making to somebody else just like a week ago. We all share common interests that we don't even know about because that's what drew us all to this area." He's like, "So the odds of two people that have never met that both have a baby Yoda Grogu floating above their computer screens." He's like, what are the chances?" He's like, "But in this space, it just shows that the common interests and the commonality that we all have with each other." And it's true. It's why we all like each other. It's why we're all talking right now, because we all share that same type of thing, and we don't even know all of it yet.
All right, so it looks like we're creeping on an hour here. I wanted to go ahead and thank everyone for listening. I wanted to go ahead and thank NFTYoda here for giving us his time. It was a
Thank
great
you.
conversation. I think we covered a lot of great topics. Cat Fanatic, thank you for jumping up here. Yeah, you had some really good ideas. I think if you go ahead and execute, like I said before, you have all of our retweets. You have our full backing. We want to see you succeed. We want to see the project succeed. Links will be in the description of the video. This is all recorded. It'll be on YouTube. We'll have everyone's socials there. We'll have a really big week coming up. So again, remember to sign the crypto sign and then have your ambassador stuff all set for this upcoming week.